As the leader of the Booner Path, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's bumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff and Booner. It's October 13th. It's Monday. It's not a victory Monday. It's a different type of Monday. We're going to be breaking down the Lions' loss to the Chiefs. Lost in tough fashion, 30-17. Loss to the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. Controversial loss, some would add. We'll break that down. We'll give our thoughts on it. Flannel Sam joins the show in the second hour. So shout out to Flannel Sam.
Flannel.
He'll give his thoughts, but we got a lot to get to today, Boone. I mean, we have the loss. We have different storylines within the loss. The referees. We have Brian Branch officially being suspended as of an hour and a half ago. Pack show today. How you doing?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what. There's one thing that I'm tired of in sports. I'm tired of the refs screwing over the Detroit Lions constantly. I'm so over it. You know what? I stand side by side with every single fan out there. I stand side by side with every single Detroit Lions player, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, every single person in this chat. I'm right there with you. I think the NFL needs to go investigate the refs versus Detroit. The Detroit Lions would have won that game by 4 touchdowns, Jeff, if the refs were on our side. It's ridiculous at this point. And you know what? I think Dan needs to submit a bunch of different videos and send it into the league office so they can figure this thing out, because I'm quite frankly quite tired of the refs being on the wrong side of the refs constantly.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm kidding. I don't care about the refs, dude. What are we talking about here? I'm so over it. Dude, it's the worst thing of all time. Who cares about the refs? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
listen, there have been games in the past where I've been like, okay, the Detroit, I told you before the show, the Lions-Cowboys game 2 years ago, that blatantly changed the game. It affected the game in time. You had a 2-point conversion to win the game. You got it. They took it away. It blatantly changed the game. Yesterday, you lost by 2 scores, Jeff, and we're going to get into all of it. There were multiple factors at the Detroit Lions yesterday. They could have changed themselves on the road versus one of the best teams in football to change the game. And all these people today, and in my comments, I mean, you had the same thing, Jeff. You had the same exact thing. People in comments, and me and you are the bad guys right now on Twitter, because we're the only ones, essentially, it feels like, in this atmosphere that is just like, hey, who cares what the refs did? You played terrible football yesterday in the second half. Terrible football in the second half. You lost the game yourselves. The players, the coaches. Yep. And I didn't like the fact, I told you this before, and I love Kirby Joseph. I love a lot. Great people, right? Hate the fact these guys are all over social media complaining about refs, acting like it's the refs, quote tweeting these refs. It's the worst thing in the world. I hate that mindset. It's the worst mindset. Now, if it clearly affected the game, fine, tweet it out. But the fact that it was like you just got beat, you got manhandled in the second half, and we're all out here just all day today. Like all of Lions Twitter, Jeff, I shut it off. I stopped going on Lions Twitter. Our fan base is, what's the word I'm looking for? Like unbearable after a loss when there's something with the refs with it. My comment section, hundreds of comments of just people being like, you're an idiot. What are you talking about? The refs changed this whole game. I don't know if it was me, Jeff. I'm just going to say this. Sorry, I'm going on a rant right now.
No, go ahead.
There wasn't a moment of me last night that genuinely, I did not have one thought go through my mind where I was like, oh, the refs are really killing us tonight. And until I saw they had 0 penalties. But like when that like a lot of the people are saying there was a phantom PI call on Travis Kelce and then they're just clipping the end of it when the corner's a couple feet behind him and Travis has no one touching him, and then he looks at the refs, put his hand. He got held. Now, whether you want to argue it was a holding call, a defensive hold, or if it was PI, he grabbed his horse collar, like he grabbed the pads, and it's the same thing with any other call, like the Jared Goff touchdown. It was against the rules. And then people are like, well, you can't review it because it's not a reviewable play or that type of play. They said it didn't come from New York. So, like, people need to kind of, like, do their research and be like, hey, shut up at this point, like to the fan base. That's my opinion. And I'm not like being like mean towards the fan base, but it's just more so like, hey, like, are we going to do this after every single Lions loss? Blame the refs, blame this, blame another team, No, they lost and they got beat, fair and square. That's what it is at the end of the day. That's it.
Yeah, I have that. You know what's funny though? I went live this morning and I looked at some of the comments in the comments on that stream afterwards, and actually there were a lot of them were positive. A lot of people were commenting like, Jeff, I agree with you. It's embarrassing kind of seeing how some people in this fan base are handling this loss. I actually agree with everything you just said. I think Lions fans are spoiled right now. I think they're extremely spoiled. And I think, which without winning a Super Bowl yet, which that's a whole other thing, but they're spoiled. The Lions have done nothing but win games. And when they lose a game, people can't fathom they just got outplayed. It has to be for another reason. It has to be for referees. It has to be for this. It has to be for that. You know, and that's the honestly sad part. Like it's you brought up this on the post-game show. It's like the Eagles fan base, but the Eagles are different. They'll come at the referees. They'll come at the organization. They lose one game. It seems like the Lions are kind of getting here too. It's like this, us as a fan base and the players, we got to do better. Not including. I mean, we were pretty accountable. But I'll still take accountability. I'll still add myself in there. We got to do better as a fan base handling a loss. Like that shit was embarrassing. Like
I think there's
like the Chiefs outplayed the Lions offensively, defensively.
Yes,
they outcoached the Lions. They out executed the Lions. They out hustled the Lions. They did everything better than the Lions did. If you want to bring up the 0 calls, fair, even though there was one and it was declined by the Lions. Okay, whatever. Should there have been maybe 1 or 2 more calls? Fine. People act like the Lions had 15 penalties. They had 4, and 2 of them were legit.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, like at the end of the day, people, yeah, and I do agree. Like I tweeted out, I do agree. Like it is ridiculous that the Chiefs. There's no way an NFL team has 0 penalties in a game, and there was the one that was declined that we declined because it helped field position. But there is no way a team should have 0 penalties in a game. So I do understand that. But for people to try and take these major call, like hold on, I started a couple here. Like Jahar, I would agree with Booner, but there were major calls not called. What major calls were not called? Like I know there's someone else here. Jones lined up offsides on the illegal shift through though Booner. You know how many plays in the NFL? I bet you there are guys that line up offsides, even like touchdown plays, and they just are missed calls. Like this isn't just like Lions got absolutely screwed. Like I just didn't get that feeling yesterday, and a lot of people did. I talked to people. A lot of people, bring up all the rest. I didn't get that feeling that this game would have changed if there were specific calls to be had or that didn't get called. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I just think you got outplayed in the second half. Jeff, I heard a stat on 97.1. I think it was Stoney last night when I was driving home at like 1 a.m. He brought up a stat up to the Hammer. They had 90-something rushing yards in the first half. In the second half, guess how many rushing yards they had in the second half? Take a guess.
25.
6. 6 rushing yards in the second half. Why is our fan base complaining about the referees when your football team went out there and this was from Stoney. I should maybe have fact checked it or stat checked it. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's what you're arguing, that your team went out there and had 6 rushing yards, something that is supposed to be a run-first offense. You have 2 of the best running backs in the NFL. You had 6 rushing yards. And you expect to go win that game? And it was a 3-point game in the second half at one point to start the second half. So like Xavier D put in there, 2 things can be true. Yeah, the refs weren't great. You could say that's true. But for people to just keep pushing and being like the Lions got screwed because of that, and even bringing that up, talking about the loss, I think it's ridiculous. The focus yesterday's game should be you got outplayed in the second half. It should be embarrassing. Defensively, are we getting into this? Can I just bring up my stat? Because defensively, I tweeted it out. They had 7 possessions offensively, like legit possessions. 2 of they had 9 technically. 2 of them they took a knee in the halftime and the end of the game. But 7 actual possessions, 7. They scored on 5 of them. 5 of the 7. You got 2 stops in real football. 2 stops all game. And then offensively, after you scored that field goal and that touchdown to start the game, Jeff, this Lions team, they scored in 1 of their 6 possessions to end the game. 1 of their 6. It's on them. It's on no one else. It's not on the refs. The refs didn't help you go 1 for 6 on offense. The refs didn't help them go 5 for 7 on offense. That's all on you. You got outplayed. And I know, you know what's crazy too? I know for a fact Dan Campbell he probably told these guys instantly, we don't care about the refs. I don't want to hear any of that. He's probably saying what me and you are saying right now. And he goes, we got to beat, we beat ourselves. We knew the refs weren't going to be good. That's why I kept tweeting at people today. You knew the Chiefs always get the ref side. Why are we complaining about it? We knew it, right?
Yeah. And they were 2-3 going into that game. All right. So they had 3 losses already on their schedule. They already had 3 losses. Refs didn't assist them in those games either. And those games, some of them were at home too. They were in Arrowhead. So it's not like every single game the Chiefs are, and this is the same thing that happens with the New England Patriots when they were winning. I mean, it was always the referees. And Mahomes is going to be officiated a little differently, but I agree with you. That's not why they lost. And I want to bring this up. Nick, appreciate the $5. Says, I'm so tired of us not using Monty. I love Gibbs, but we rushed better last year with Monty starts. Johnny Mo's pissing me off. I mean, I will say, like, Johnny Mo, to say he's pissing you off, I think Johnny Mo's done a really good job. Obviously, they didn't have a good outing coordinator-wise yesterday. I mean, they got outplayed. Yeah. But the one thing I will say, because we can nitpick play calls and do that, the one thing I will say, Booner, and I don't know how you feel about it, I do think they got to use Monty a little more. I checked the snap count. He played like 30% of the snaps. He didn't play like a ton yesterday. And Jameer played like 60%, 60-something%. You got to get Monty. When he was out there, he was playing well. They got to get Monty a little more involved. I didn't like how he wasn't really a part of the game plan that much yesterday. I didn't really understand that.
He wasn't 2 weeks ago as well. The only time he was that Cincy game and then the Ravens game. Those were the two kind of where that really stood out. And like those were 2 games you won and dominated. I'm right there with you guys. And whoever said that, I'm with you.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like people are going to panic and say like, "Oh, the Lions are frauds." Like last night, it was the post game. Oh, they're frauds. The Bills are down right out of the Atlanta Falcons. They lost to the New England Patriots. Are you still going to look at the Bills as contenders? Yes, but they have worse. They're going to if they lose tonight, they'll have 2 worse losses than you do. You lost to 2 contenders. Many people would say, right? The Chiefs and the Packers. Like the Lions are still a good team. That doesn't change. They got outplayed yesterday, and that's it. That's what it is. You know, they didn't want that game more than the Chiefs. The Chiefs were more desperate, and you saw that. So I think it's humbling for Lions fans. It's humbling for Lions players. And the big one that I did want to bring up is we officially got a verdict on Brian Branch today. Actually, like an hour and a half ago. Ian Rappaport put it out, and so did Adam Schefter. Brian Branch is officially suspended for 1 game by the NFL. And he was fined as well. So he's going to miss the Monday Night Football game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's already been official. Apparently, he is appealing right now as well. I mean, you have to try and appeal, but it's official. He's suspended. He's going to be out of the Bucs game, which is arguably, I mean, talk about the sketch. They're 4-2. You're playing a top seed in the NFC. This is a big game. Like, it is a massive game. And this is why last night, like people, and this is what I struggle with on Twitter all day, is the amount of people that were excusing Brian Branch like he did something great. Like, and here's the thing, like we have to separate the Lions uniform and be more objective. Like we have to look at things and not see it through a Honolulu blue glass. You know, if the roles were reversed and JuJu Smith-Schuster punched Brian Branch in the face, everyone would be clamoring for him to be suspended. So we got to be consistent and we got to look at this and be like, all right, Brian Branch, you can't do that. No matter, and we could talk about the block in the back. You know, we could talk about whatever Mahomes flexing on him. Like, is that stuff? Are you for that? Whatever. It's sports. Things are going to happen between the lines that are. It's a little dirty. It is what it is. I can see why Brian would get frustrated, but that's where Brian. You got to keep your composure. You got to go to the locker room. Get the fuck out of there. He approached JuJu. If you watch the clip, he went up to JuJu. He walked right up to him. He didn't go to the locker room and JuJu chased him down. And if you see the clip, JuJu actually had his hand out. Like he was probably. Yeah,
I wouldn't say that. JuJu was talking. He was talking, but
there's
no excuse. Like handout. He had his hand out as a joke. But I've sided with you on everything. Saying JuJu had his hand out, there's no way.
He did have his hand out. I don't know what
that was a joke. There was an alternate angle of JuJu laughing, screaming at him. It was definitely okay. He was antagonizing, which is fine. But at the end of the day, Brian Branch, turn and walk away.
You cannot do that. Because you just hurt your team in one of the biggest games on the regular season schedule at home against the Bucs. Now this Lions secondary is already injured, all right, and now you don't have Brian Branch, your second best defensive player on your team. So you just hurt your team by doing something very selfish. And I'm sorry, I can't look at it from like, oh yeah, Brian, eat that 1 game suspension. You did the right thing. No, he didn't. It was a dumb decision. Dan Campbell spoke about it after the game. It does not embody what the Lions are about. And to me, it was just an inexcusable move. No one would promote their child to do that in any type of level of football. So why are we encouraging Brian Branch to do it? It's not what you do. It's just not what you do. And I don't care if it was Brian. I don't care who it was. Look at him objectively. That was wrong. He can't do it. He can't do it because now you don't have Brian against the Bucs, and that game is massive, dude. The Bucs are on fire. They're playing really good football. So it sucks. He's out for a game, and it is what it is, man.
It's tough. A lot of the fan base too is kind of going on that side of the Brian Branch, like that shocked he's suspended. I threw it in the group chat that weren't. It's like, do people actually think that he wasn't going to get suspended? There wasn't a chance Brian Branch was going to get suspended, and I've seen people putting out there plays like in games of people getting smacked or hit, a helmet or like that stuff does happen all the time during games where a player hits a player in the helmet and like there's a little bit of a scuffle, but like post game and not even just that Brian Branch just hit him, but then after they go at it with each other and then Brian Branch grabs him and throws him on the ground and he rocks him. I think he got it. I think he got a couple hits in because JuJu Smith was bleeding after. So like it was a fight after the game and turned into a little bit of a brawl. And it was like at the end of the day, if you genuinely thought that Brian Branch wasn't gonna get suspended, you just like and I saw people tweet it, Jeff. It's like trying to say like the only reason he got suspended is because he's Brian Branch and he has all these fines. No, any player in the NFL that did what Brian Branch did to that level after a game, to that level, hitting someone's face and then grabbing his face mask, throwing him to the ground and essentially trying to, getting on top of him and hitting him. Every player in the NFL would get suspended if they did that. Every single player. So for people in Detroit too, people like Detroit fans, this is a Jeff, what am I? Biggest probably Lions slappy in the world. Today, this weekend, I'm 0 for 2 with the Lions fans. I disagree with them being like, the refs ruined this game, and I also disagree with all these people being like, what Brian Branch was a good thing. Good. Teach JuJu a lesson. No. That was the dumbest thing of all time. Even Brian after was like, that was childish of me. And it was childish. Like if you're grown and you're mature enough to be able to get into it's the same thing like when you're just out in public. Like these people who fight in public, you got to be able to know the wherewithal to be able to turn your head and walk away. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to read those situations and say, hey, let me remove myself from this situation. I don't need to do this. And he was in that situation. He didn't do it. He walked into the fire, and he took the bait. That's what they wanted to happen. JuJu wanted that to happen, and it happened. So you got to be able to know. You got to know. And Brian Branch admitted it himself last night. Dan Campbell admitted it. They know it. They know it was childish and it was a bad move. So for Lions fans to be like really like, and I did put a tweet out on Crunch Time just to play into both sides a little bit. Detroit versus everybody.
That's really what the fan base has been doing. Is like it doesn't matter. It could have been Brian could have done anything and they would have defended him. And people got it. Lions fans gotta hate us today. Like to me, that's ridiculous. Like that's you're stooping down to JuJu Smith-Schuster's level. Like, and he got you. He got your ass, man. He got your ass. Like he won. He won. Like, yeah, you punched him in the face, but he got you. He made you swing on him. Like now you're not playing football next week. And now you're out. You're out. And now your team that desperately needs you in this matchup against the Bucs, which is going to be a tougher game. You thought this game was tough. This game is going to be tougher. The Bucs are playing the best. They're honestly right now, judging by how the other teams look, Baker might be he's the MVP front runner. The Bucs defense is really good. They're playing good football. They have injuries, but they're still playing. I mean, they're playing. I was going to say, I will give a little bit. Brian Branch is lucky that some of these injury reports came out because the Bucs are missing their top 3 weapons on Monday. So like it's going to be a tough game, but it did get a little bit like, okay, Brian, like it's maybe doable, but if that wasn't the case and Brian did this and Emeka Egbuka and Bucky Irving and who else is it? Chris Godwin and Mike Evans all were playing, it's over. There's no way you're underdogs at home if that was the case. The fact though that people don't know, Emeka Egbuka is going to be out. Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin all out. And Mike Evans he's probably going to be like questionable, Jeff, I would guess, because he's still kind of coming back from a hammy. And now you're evening the playing field a little bit by not having Brian out there. You already don't have.
What do you think the odds are?
I think the Lions are going to be favored. They're at home, so probably slight favorites.
What do you think? Line?
I'd say 2.5.
4.5. So they're pretty decent favorites, actually.
Yeah, and
I think that's because of the weapons. So I do think the Lions. That's a
injury.
game you should win.
But here's the thing: like the people, and this is where we have to be mindful that this is the NFL, because people are saying this about the Chiefs all week. It's like, oh, they ain't the old Chiefs, man. They're like whatever. And I get Mahomes is obviously different. Mahomes, and I will say this about the Chiefs, and people we're sleeping on the Chiefs for sure, because people are looking at the record. People are looking at what the Chiefs have been this year and saying, well, they're not the old Chiefs. Like, this is going to be, they haven't faced this Lions team. When you talk about quarterbacks playing at their best, there's no other quarterback you'll take playing at his best than Patrick Mahomes. If he's at his best, he's the best quarterback in the
NFL.
NFL.
At home, too? At
home. It's not even a debate. And if you're talking about a coaching staff at their best, there's no coaching staff you'd rather have than the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, you have Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. Like,
to be honest, but like at the end of the day, I said it last night in the postgame. Lions were underdogs last night. You weren't favored to win that football game. You were going on the road with a team that people, obviously with the record, like you said, Jeff, didn't think were good. That's a good football team. I think like that loss isn't as bad as if you lost to the Bucs. If you lose to the Bucs on Monday night, I think that's a worse loss than this Chiefs game. And that's because you're favored. You're at home. You're 4.5-point favorites. They're out a bunch of guys. You should win this game. This is one of those games where, yes, Baker's playing at MVP level. You should win this game on Monday night at home. You should. Your offense should be good enough to be able to outscore a Tampa offense with no Abuka, no Bucky Irving, and no Chris Godwin. You should. Even if they have Baker. So that's why I think last night people like super mad about it. That's why for me, and I feel like you're in the same boat, Jeff, and you feel like I'm not taking last night's loss some type of way. I'm really not. And I know a lot of people are either taking it really hard and being like, hey, this Lions team, they're frauds. Or two, they're blaming it on the refs. Why can't I just be, hey, this Lions team just played a bad football game yesterday, and they can't do that next Monday. I think that's like as simple as it gets. And in this Lions team, you brought up the odds for Super Bowl last night. Lions are still the best favorite to win the Super Bowl. Fourth.
Yeah, and the teams that are in that same mix have worse losses.
Yes.
That's the point I was trying to make. Is like
you're in a really good spot right now.
People are acting like you just lost to the Bears. I mean, you lost to the Kansas City freaking Chiefs, dude. Like, it's okay.
On the road as underdogs.
Not saying that, not trying to be that guy that's like, oh, the Lions should easily win this game. I never said that. But if you're one of those guys who's like, the Lions should easily win this game, and then they lose, and you're like, well, we had injuries. Not trying to be that. I'm not that. You don't want to be that guy. We knew this would be a tough game. And when they lost, you're like, hey, it is what it is. You went into that game shorthanded. You didn't play well. That's what happens. You got your ass kicked. And that game didn't make me change anything on what I think about the Lions. It didn't make me question any. I think what it did for me though is it puts an importance on this game against the Bucs, because, and I brought this up last night, and this is why Brian being out sucks, because of the importance of this game. Like, you need, not only you need to win this game for record purposes. I mean, you'll drop to 4-3 potentially, which you're still above 500, but it won't be ideal, because then you will have losses to 3 really good teams on your schedule. Now I think people can bring up, like, what the hell is this team? What are we doing? You lost to the Packers, you lost to the Chiefs, you lost to the Bucs. Injured, by the way, the Buccaneers will be injured. So I'm with you. Like, you got to win this game on Monday night at home. You have to.
Yeah.
And I don't care that you're out without players. Like,
very
you brought
confident.
it up in the offseason, and you were spot on. Like, you can't lose to every contender you face. Like, you got to beat these teams. And I think they will against the Bucs. But that's going to
I'm confident.
The Bucs. They always do.
I'm confident that they win this game. I am. They don't lose back-to-back games. Dan Campbell uses losses, especially like a Chiefs loss, as kind of motivation into the next week. And as much as sometimes we don't like the way that some of these guys react, especially last night with the ref situation, these guys do take it to heart. Like Kirby, these guys take it to heart, and they're gonna make sure they're ready to go on Sunday. And you know who actually is gonna probably take it to heart the most? It's probably this offense. Amon-Ra, Jared Goff, the offensive line.
Yeah, like Amon-Ra had uncharacteristic. He had an uncharacteristic drop on 4th down. I mean, he had a drop on 4th down.
Those are the things that people don't want to talk about, though. And actually, there are like some people in my mentions that are like, no, the reason we lost the game is because Amon-Ra dropped the 4th down pass, because Aiden Hutchinson had a stupid roughing the passer play 4 steps after the quarterback threw the ball, because you had a pass interference call that people want to call a phantom one, which was a real pass interference call that set them up in position to score. It was like, those were mistakes that you made that helped them score on those possessions and then get the ball back with the Amon-Ra drop. So it's just I think these guys look at that, and I would hope that's why I didn't like what Kirby was doing last night. It was like, hey, like, totality of the football game, that had nothing to do with the refs. Why are you quote tweeting 16 different tweets about the refs in this game? It has nothing to do with them. Like, yeah, that small, minute part of the game. But man, like, there were so many things that this Lions team yesterday shot themselves in the foot for. And as bad as they were playing and some of the mistakes they were making, they had an opportunity in the fourth quarter to still make it a one-possession game and be in the game. So, like, go watch the film, fix those situations, right? Like, Hutch, like, we can't have that. Saying you got to catch that. And, like, next week, it should be, you should be able to win that game. I'm confident, though, Jeff, that next week, the Lions get the win, especially in prime time again.
Now, I will say I do want to talk about the next stretch of games because they got a tough schedule coming up here. But before I do that, let me tell you about our friends. Oh, hold on a second here. Let me do this. Excuse me.
Oh no, you're gone again, Jeff. You're gone. Do you want me to tell you about one-day installation concrete floor coating at Comer and Cross?
You know what? Hold on. Let me do this.
I don't have the ad read in front of me, but I could just go off whim.
You know what? Let me do this. Oh, yeah. Watch this. Boom, boom, boom. Wow. All right. Let me tell you about our friends over at Comer & Cross. One-day installation for concrete floor coatings, garages, basements, patios. You can call today, 248-834-3488. They transform patios, pool decks, basements, even driveways, and they move this stuff out for you. Give them a call, or you can book your free estimate today at comercross.com. Well, I put it off. You're sick and tired of staring at your crack-stained garage floor. Let Comer & Cross in their summer installation sale help you. You can call them. Like I said, 248-834-3488. Give them a call. Comer & Cross. Let's get back to the show. Let me do this. All right. We're back. Yeah, I want to get into the next stretch of games because their next games they got coming up. They have the Buccaneers on Monday night. They have the bye week. Then they have the Vikings. Then they have the Commanders and Eagles. That's the next 4 games for the Lions. What's the record in your mind? What does it have to look like for you to be satisfied over the next 4? Because they have 3 tough opponents. And we're going to see the Commanders play tonight.
Yeah.
Against another NFC North.
They're down 3-0 right now versus the Bears already. If I'm just being honest with you, I expect them to go 3-1. Honestly, I think the Eagles is probably the toughest one, and that's the one where I would be okay with the loss. But again, like I just said, like with the Commanders game, Jeff, coming off a loss, the Lions haven't had a back-to-back loss in almost 2 seasons. I expect them to win Monday Night Football, and then with a bye, coming off a bye, you probably get a lot of dudes healthy. You probably get guys like Taylor Decker back. Aleem McNeil for sure will be back. Hopefully that secondary gets built back up a little bit, at least halfway coming off the bye. I expect them to beat the Commanders. I expect them to beat the Vikings coming off of the bye. And then that Eagles game's kind of up for debate. I would honestly be a little disappointed in like a 2-2 or a 1-3. I think 3-1 in that stretch. If you're a legit Super Bowl contender, if you're a legit football team, I think you got to go 3-1. I really do. And I don't think that's anything crazy to say. I think like you should expect them to win as a 4.5-point favorite at home versus the Bucs. And then after that, the next 2 games, like, you should beat this Commanders team and you should beat this Vikings team. Those are games that we talk about all the time where you have to take care of like games that you're favored big in. You're probably going to be favored in the Vikings Commanders game. You got to win those games if you're a Super Bowl contender. We talk about that all the time. That was why they went on that 4-game win streak. Those were all teams where it's like, hey, the only team was the Ravens that no one really knew about at the time. But every other game was, hey, that's a game you should win. You should win that football game. And they did it, and they typically do it. Like the Chiefs game, you're underdogs. Like that's not a game like, hey, you have to win. But the games that you're favored and you should win, this team does that. So I would think 3-1 is the number.
Can we just address this? Like Steven asked, he said, guys, the suspension doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because Branch was most likely not going to play against the Bucs. He was questionable for the Chiefs, so it was a good suspension.
He's just right. Yeah, but it's fine. Steven, he was going to play versus the Bucs.
Yeah, so. Steven.
I like the optimism a little bit. I like, I kind of like it, like trying to find like a little backdoor.
You know what that is? That's
I respect it.
That's just coping. Like that's literally what that is. It's just
coping. That's what's the word called? I'm trying to think of the term.
It's like Steven, I appreciate you for tuning in, but you cannot possibly believe that. Branch just played against the Chiefs. He was
Kinda-
1,000% going to play against the Buccaneers.
I'll
It's
say
a
this, Jeff.
long
I
week.
think he's trolling. I think that was just he was trying to get a little spin zone in there. I think that's all it was. He's like, here's a spin zone. He was never going to play anyways. I like that, Steven. Good mindset.
It's like, come on, Steven. You
Hey,
cannot
got us,
possibly-
NFL. He's hurt anyways.
You cannot possibly be okay with your second best defensive player not playing. Like, that's just not. I cannot fathom anyone would think that. Like, it's a spin zone. You're probably right. And I actually agree with you. I think their next 4 opponents, they have the next 2 at home. They have Tampa at home. They have Minnesota at home. I think they'll beat Minnesota. Honestly.
Yeah, I think the Commanders too. I think the Commanders aren't. I think that's a game you're going to be big fan. Like on the
Yeah, I
road
think
too,
they're
you're going to be like
motivated
4.5 point
as hell
favorites.
to beat the Commanders. That's on the road. I think that's going to be like one of those circle on the calendar. They're going to want to play that game. I think the games I have more concern is I do think the Bucs is going to be the Buccaneers and the Eagles are going to be the biggest test for them.
Yeah.
'Cause
Are you going to like acknowledge that they're coming out? They're not going to lose back-to-back games, Jeff. They're 4.5 point favorite.
No, you're right.
They
you're
literally have
right.
every offensive weapon out. Baker could be the best MVP in the world. Who's he throwing the ball to? Tez Johnson's good, but he's not going to go out there and get 150 on you. I promise you, Jeff. There's no way that Baker's going to be fine. Your offense is going to score 30 on Monday night. There is no way Baker, without his top potentially 5 weapons, is going to. There's no way.
I understand, but here's the thing: like, have they ever scored 30 against the Bucs?
They will.
You know what I'm saying? It's always a good matchup with the Bucs. It's always a good.
Who's won every time?
Well, last time the Bucs beat them.
Did they?
2016 they beat them.
No, 2016 they played.
I'm saying 20-16 was the score.
Oh, okay, you're right. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. I was thinking about the playoff game. I just had the playoff.
Yeah,
game.
and then they beat them the prior game. And
Yeah.
you're right. And then they beat them the game before that. But they've
I was
always
so
been like
for a
these
second, my brain was
scrappy-
like
They've
pretzel.
always been these scrappy, like 24-20 games. You know what I'm saying? They've always been. That's why, like, yeah, you're what you're saying is not wrong. Like, they don't have the weapons, but that's like, would we be shocked if Baker has like 300 passing yards on this?
Yes,
I wouldn't. Based on how
with
he's playing.
who?
Dude, he's doing it to like random ass dudes. Like,
To who? Can you name someone?
I mean, watch K. Dotton's gonna have like 60.
Oh
Fucking,
my gosh, this guy just said Kate.
Sterling Shepard is going to have like 50, 60. You got Tez Johnson.
What did
doing
they have?
backflips.
He threw for 250 this week. Cameron Johnson had
Dude, Cam
64.
Johnson caught
Sterling
a
Shepard had
a
51. Kate On had 50. Tez Johnson had 45. Emeka had 24, and Rashad. Yeah, I mean,
dude, that's just what they do. Like, that's why like we can't do this where we just discount the Bucs. They're going to be.
they were at home though. They're on the road. I'm not gonna discount them, but I'm confident. I'm gonna go through this week. I'm very confident. I might get disrespectful confident that this Lions team wins on Monday night.
No.
There's no way, dude. How good they are in
They'll move
prime
the ball
time.
on this secondary. There, no question, they'll move the ball.
But how good they are in prime time, the Lions are, and coming off a bat, like everything we talk about with this team, Jeff, like they're elite in prime time. The Lions are, correct?
yeah, until yesterday they just.
Until
shipped
yesterday, but typically they're elite in prime time, correct? They don't lose back-to-back games, correct? It's the perfect storm for the Lions. Like they have everything that typically fires them up and gets them going. It is like all the stars have aligned in one. And they're going up against the leader as the MVP candidate, which Dan, they're gonna love to shut him down. And the offense played bad. Stars are all aligning right now.
The old
And
shake and bake, man.
thing.
The
It's a
old shake
beautiful
and
thing.
He's just, you never know what shake and bake's got up his sleeve, man. This guy's just an absolute
I
dog.
do love Baker, man. That's the problem I'm running into here with these Bucs matchups, is I do love Baker Mayfield. So it's just like I gotta hate him for a week. I do.
He's the front runner for MVP this year. And this game, if he beats the Lions, that lock it in, dude. Just give it to him. I mean, this guy's it'd be 6-1. He's balling. And I think that's an opponent. That's why I'm thankful they do have an extra day. It's on Monday, so guys can get a little healthy. One thing I do wonder is if Taylor Decker will be back, because if Taylor Decker's back, that's going to help them. I know Dan Skipper didn't play bad, but they might get some reinforcements. Kirby will have an extra day.
The Lions are
Terry
12-2.
Arnold might be back. He might be back that game.
I think the Lions are 12-3 in prime time with Dan Campbell. That's ridiculous, dude. And the third one was just yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, they
stuck
have
on that.
been.
I'm sorry.
They have been really good in prime time. I know we're coming off they shit the bed in prime time, but they are pretty good.
It's even more motivation because they're great off losses. They're elite. They're not even just great off losses. They're elite. They put 40 up on people. Keys to wisdom. I just want to throw this up there. F off Jeff. Goff is number 1 in touchdowns, number 1 in rating, and number 1 in completion percentage. MVP. Well, right now Baker Mayfield is.
Yeah, I'm not saying Goff. He's coming at me like I did. I'm saying
I'm a Jared Goff guy. I said he's in top 3 in MVP last week. Baker right now is an MVP. He's
no
the MVP.
Question. Yeah, no question. What he's doing with the Bucs is incredible. They have
majority of people around the league would tell you Baker's number 1 right now.
Dude, he's had the plays he made last week against that 49ers team. Like,
it's incredible. He's playing great football, and especially with all those weapons last week. Down.
He can throw the ball downfield. He can move. He's accurate. I mean, he could do it all. He's playing some good football. So it'll be a good opportunity. I'm interested in the Johnny Morton versus Todd Bowles matchup here. And honestly, I know we talked about the next 4 games. I do want to bring up 2 because we didn't talk about it yet. The Eagles just lost a pass rusher today, actually. Pass rusher that played for the Lions abruptly.
Oh, I forgot about this today.
Za'Darius Smith decided to hang it up. He came out on his Instagram and posted basically "Hey, I'm out, peace," and he decided to retire mid-season. And he said it had nothing to do with the Eagles. He said the love of the game, it's not there. He's done. And then he
had a good career.
Yeah, like he wasn't playing bad this year either. I think he just got to a point where he's like, I'm done. Fuck this. I don't know. He's probably just, I don't want to play. I've seen crazier things. I've seen guys retire at halftime. You remember that? We've seen guys retire. They just play and they're like, you know what? I'm out. I'm done. And Za'Darius did it in the middle of a season, which honestly is tough. I will say this. That to me, that's a bad look. I hate you're letting your teammates down. Mid-season retiring is tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough look.
He should have
a middle of a season to retire.
Or just like if you knew you were close to it. I'm going to be 0 for 3 here with Lions fans today, Jeff. Wheezy D. This just makes me think of all of the comments on Twitter today. I had to listen to non-ballers clamor for this bum for 6 months. Every single person in this chat would have loved to have Za'Darius Smith on this roster for the whole season. Every single player. He did not retire because he's not good or because he's a bum. He retired because he just didn't want to play anymore. He was still productive. Still was productive. And then for the people being like one of our clips that was out there, Jeff, did you see me going at it with some guy? Yeah. I was going at it with someone because these are the people who are like going back to old videos of us being like, this is the worst Brad Mahomes mistake that he's had. It still is. Brad Holmes had no clue that Za'Darius Smith was going to retire. And if Brad Holmes knew, he didn't. No one did because he signed with another team because he wasn't going to retire. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like if he ended up not signing with another team and he retired, I would have been like, okay, that's on us. Like Brad obviously knew he was going to retire that. He signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. Brad had zero clue that Za'Darius Smith was going to retire. No clue. Zero clue.
Yeah, because here's the thing. And I agree with you.
People are saying Brad. No, if you actually think Brad knew, you have zero clue how the thing's working.
Yeah, because why would Brad
sign with the team?
Why would Brad know and Howie Roseman not know and sign him? Like, what? It doesn't.
This is where some Lions fans just don't use logic in their mind. Like people are like, I told you so about Za'Darius. Told us what? What? That he was going to retire? No, you didn't know. I mean, I see people who are in media taking victory laps like, I told you. You didn't say anything. Sit down. Stop talking. You don't know what you're talking about.
There's no.
You didn't know he was going to retire.
I think what happened was I think Brad just wasn't interested in Za'Darius. That's true. He didn't know he wouldn't retire. I think he just didn't want him back, which is fine. I mean, AQM's playing really well. So it's actually what they're doing, whether or not we want more depth or not, is irrelevant. Like AQM's playing really well. Okay, awesome. But you can't say, oh, Brad already knew without actually knowing whether Brad knew or not. He didn't. We're just basically making shit up out of nowhere.
He signed with another team. No one knew he was going to retire. Why would the Eagles be like, yeah, let's do this contract, a year contract? What?
Yeah, no, he didn't.
People are like, buddy, Booner, be our GM. I'm not saying, like, at the end of the day, I'm arguing, like, what are we talking about here? Are you guys that, like,
think about it. Let's
illiterate?
Critical think for a second, all right? Think about this. Brad said we've been staying in touch with his agent. His agent is probably negotiating with teams for him. Why, as an agent, would you even suggest or hint that your client is thinking about retiring?
Brad literally wanted him. Like, they had conversations the whole time.
If your agent were to do something like that, fire him. That's malfeasance. That's idiot. That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. No agent would ever be like, hey, my client's interested in joining your football team. He's thinking about retirement, though. What?
It's crazy, dude.
No one would do that. No one would do that. No agent would do that because it hurts your leverage. Why?
I like what Schiff got said. People need to stop acting like they're Houdini and that they knew exactly that. I know what Za'Darius Smith. He doesn't want to play football anymore.
And I get it. By the way, if you want to take a victory lap on AQM, that's fine. Don't take a victory lap on Za'Darius retiring. That ain't the one. No one knew that.
I like, honestly, and I have embraced people that have tweeted me and that have talked about the AQM thing, and I've seen people put stats up comparing both of them. AQM's been incredible. Like I will, if you came at me and said you were wrong about Brad just pass on Za'Darius and roll with AQM, I'll gladly sit there and be like, yeah, that was on me. But for people to try and dunk on us and be like, oh, we knew this about Za'Darius the whole time. Shut up. No, you didn't. You had no clue. No one had a clue.
Yeah, that's not the one, your victory.
No one did.
Yeah. And by the way, like, AQM had a sack last night, and they're going to get Davenport back in the next week or two, probably. Probably after the bye week, I would assume. Is that 4 games? Probably. I think maybe. I don't think he'll be ready for this game. Probably after the bye week, you'll get him back. So they're going to get some help anyway.
Who's
but it
that?
Is funny. Davenport.
Davenport. Yeah, he's still going to come back potentially too. That'd be.
Yeah, and this hurts the Eagles. Like, the Eagles are already thin at edge, and they just lost to Darius. Yeah. So you don't think the Eagles are going to try and probably scramble, like, knowing Howie Roseman? They're probably going to call and try and trade for somebody because the Eagles took a hit. They're barely getting a lot. Their pass rush is hurting this year without Josh Sweat, and they just lost. They just lost Z. They just lost Za'Darius. So I'm just saying, man, this is good for Lions fans though, in many different ways. If you want to say, ha, Brad Holmes didn't sign him, whatever, but it hurts the Eagles, which is always good. And yeah, by the way, Weezy mentioned Pascal. We don't even know what's going on with Pascal. We don't even know.
No one knows. We've asked. I actually had the doc ask Dan about Pascal, and he asked Dan, and Dan just said he's not really close to returning. I think that was, I don't know if that was word for word what he said, but it sounded like there wasn't really. He said there's no update. So that was last Monday.
There is no update on Pascal.
Tuesday.
They don't really have anything, to be honest. So yeah, you'll hopefully. Yeah, like in the next couple of weeks, maybe you have more, but they don't have anything on Pascal. I will say, is there anything you're concerned about for this team moving forward? Anything that pops in your mind? Looking at the next 4 games, rest of the year, what's kind of on your mind? Watch out for this Lions team to be wary of.
I mean, I think I don't know. I think the 2 biggest things, and I don't know where you're at with this, because if I'm just being honest, like when this team is playing at a high level, they're very good. It's like we talked about it last week. Me and you both had them as our number 1 team in the NFL last week. So, I mean, it's still a really good football team. I'll do this. We'll do one on each side of the ball. One, I think I think fans actually have something to stand on with this is the whole David Montgomery thing. I do think that needs to get figured out, the D-Mont stuff, because D-Mont is productive. And there are times where, like, a game where he's not productive, and people could be like, well, D-Mont, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago where he wasn't running well, but then what did they do? They just didn't give him the ball anymore. And it feels like there's just moments where they're not putting him in the, like, if you put David Montgomery in the right positions to be successful, he will do it every time. But you can notice the play calls and the positions of, hey, he's getting put out there where he's not, like, that's not him. That should be a Jahmyr Gibbs. That should be a Jahmyr Gibbs play call. And they're putting D-Mont in those positions, and he's not doing well in those spots. But then you look at the Baltimore Ravens game, and you look at what's the other game, the Bengals game. They put him in those positions, and he's playing well. And it's like they have to figure out a way. And I don't know who made the comment earlier in the show. I actually saw it on Twitter a couple times. people being like, hey, maybe you need to get Demont back to starting the game off and getting him going. I've made that comment in the offseason, and I thought going into the year that that's what they were going to do, is they were going to start the game off in the first quarter or first drive of the game, let Demont go out there and bully ball, create everything, open everything up, and then let Gibbs come in and flow off of that. So that I think offensively, that's probably the only thing. I think everything else on offense, like Laporta looks good. Obviously, the O-line needs to kind of get rolling, but that I don't. The reason I don't bring that up, Jeff, and you might, I just don't bring it up because Decker's not there yet. He's just not back, and I think that's a big part of it, is getting kind of that consistency with your O-line.
Yeah, because it's not like Demont's not playing well. Like he's averaging 5 yards a carry on the year.
Yeah,
like,
they're just not. You're just not. Even when he does get some touches, I just feel like Morton doesn't put him in the best positions sometimes. Like majority of the time it is, but there are some times where you're trying to run Demont, outside, and it's like, hey, just run him between the tackles and let Demont go to work. That's his bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean, Jameer, and people were quick to say it because Jameer, in terms of like his yards per carry, is a little down. I mean, he's still averaging 4.5 yards a carry, which is really good. But the last 2 years, he's been over 5 a carry. And I think in the role he was in, people would probably go to, well, he should be back in the role he was because he had better production. I think you can look at it two ways. I know the way people are looking at it right now is probably, why not have Monty to start the game, wear down defenses, and then Jameer comes in the game to when they're already they're worn down. Jameer's like he's the speed
That was
guy.
one of my arguments this offseason.
Yeah.
Thinking that was what they were going to do, and they did not. They went away from it.
And then people would say, and then there's people out there that might think, well, why not, get Monty late when the defense is already worn down? But I actually would side with what you said. I think Monty should start the game personally. I think that's how they should be. He sets the tone. He sets the physicality of the game. He just does. And like against the Chiefs, there's no reason this man should have 4 carries. Like
he only had 4 carries yesterday.
He had 4 carries.
That's embarrassing. That should never
happen. 4
happen.
carries. Jameer had 17.
If I was Demont, I would actually genuinely, I know he's a team guy, so he probably doesn't say anything. I would be like to Dan, like, hey, what are we doing here? Our offense after the first 2 possessions, which first possession, Jahmyr Gibbs was incredible. Had, right away, boom, like 40, 50 yards on the first possession, 10-minute drive. It was incredible. Offense stalled out after the second possession, and we scored on 1 of 6 drives. With 4 carries to Demont, that's an issue.
Well, the thing I noticed with Gibbs that they're not doing well this year is utilizing him in the passing game. I mean, Jameer last year, dude, was averaging about 10 yards a catch. Like every time he got the ball, he was getting a first down, like in the passing game. This year, he's averaging 5 yards a catch. Like he's down basically half of what he was last year. He just isn't. He hasn't been like the past. I mean, they used him. He had 2 targets against the Chiefs. One of them was like a swing pass that went nowhere. And I think there's other things that are involved in those plays, like blocking, people not hitting assignments. But last year, it felt like he was just utilized in different ways in the passing game. They haven't really been creative with him in the passing game this year. Like he's a wide, you could line him up in the slot. Like he's an absolute weapon. I think Johnny Moe's got to get a little more creative with that. Like I think Jameer is an underrated pass catcher. And you can use him, like run routes with him. You know what I mean? Like get him going, not just swing pass out the backfield. Like, no, like have him run some sort of route. Get him out there. He was get 500 plus yards last year as a receiver. This year is 100 in 6 games. Like,
I think this running back situation he's
on pace for like 300.
Yeah.
Jameer. Like
there are games where you dominate in the run game, but a game like yesterday, you just can't afford to not have Demont. You have to.
Yeah. And like Xavier D, our offensive line is inconsistent. That's why the run game's slightly down. He is right. Like without Taylor, obviously that hurts. But yeah, I would agree. You got to get Monty more involved. I think that's a good thing offensively. Probably something just to watch going forward is how they utilize both backs.
Do you have PFF up?
Yeah, I do.
Can you look up Dan Skipper yesterday? I heard a stat. I want to make sure it's true. Do you have? Yeah, I heard.
I'll check right now.
You need to pull up his stats and his grades up, both of them. I don't know if you're able to do that in one.
Blocking. Okay. What do you need? I have this. I have it right here.
You have it. Okay. First off, can we just do grades? What are his grades?
So his offensive grade was a 56.7.
Okay.
His pass blocking was a 59.2, and his run blocking was a 52.7.
Now, one more favor. How many pressures, quarterback hits, and sacks did he give up?
So he gave up 1 pressure, 1 hurry. No quarterback hits and no sacks.
I heard that stat yesterday. Jennifer Hammond on 97.1. She actually, so obviously there it said one pressure and hurry, which was probably the same play, I'm guessing. They got to him. So 1 play, essentially, he gave that up. I heard last night she had said that he gave up 0. That side of the ball gave up 0. So obviously there's 1. But either way, 1 is still
1 hurry, 1 pressure.
Incredible versus the Chiefs.
Yeah, Mahogany
Incredible.
gave up 1 hurry, 1 hit. Like Tate Ratledge gave up a hit. Panay actually had 2 hurries and 2 pressures. He didn't have a sack or hit, but I thought Dan yesterday was actually solid. Like I didn't think Dan. I think Dan should be the starting left tackle. They already figured that out. I mean, he was.
I don't know why they went the Gio route, and you know what? It goes back to the off season and training camp. So I think it was because Skip was hurt, but like him getting cut and Gio making the team. Well, obviously Gio, you want to keep his contract because of what he is. You don't want him to lose him. But it was just a weird situation to where it was like even last week, why was Gio the starting left tackle and not Dan Skipper? And that was he should have been it from the jump.
You could tell he's just much more experienced. I mean, the offensive line really as a whole didn't play extremely well pass blocking. I mean, their best 2 pass blockers yesterday, their best 4 pass blockers, highest graded pass blockers were David, Jameer, Brock, and Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta.
Yeah, they're 4. They had 2 tight ends, 2 running backs as their highest graded pass blockers. I mean, then you had Panay.
By the way,
the offensive line pass blocking, like Tate was bad. Graham was bad. Christian Mahogany was bad. Like they were in pass blocking. Jared, they weren't pass blocking that well yesterday, to be honest. But Laporta, Brock Wright, and the running backs were doing pretty good yesterday. So, I mean, the offensive line has been inconsistent. So that is fair. I think that's probably another thing you bring up on offense is just the offensive line being more consistent. I think having Taylor will help that for sure. I think just because of chemistry reasons, not that Dan Skipper's the problem. I also think defensively, an issue that you have to just keep an eye on is just kind of them patchworking the secondary. Like now you don't have Brian Branch. Like they're already without their number. Like you had Arthur Millette just signed this week and he played a lot. He played a decent amount of snaps on Sunday.
Instantly he got put in when Kirby
Arthur Millette, dude. Like he's been a part of the Ravens the last 2 years. They've been the worst secondary in football. Like Arthur Millette, if he's out there, I don't love your chances. You know who I really do like? Thomas Harper. Thomas Harper, the backup safety. He's the guy.
Where did he come from?
He was with the Raiders, actually.
Okay.
He was with the Raiders and got cut, and he's on the Lions. He's a keeper. He
had that big pass breakup on 3rd down.
He's from Notre Dame. Yeah, that dude's a keeper. He had a. Let me see. He had a.
Can we just talk? I'll let you go first because I got something.
No. Go on. I
just think it's weird. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's like this with other teams, and it might be, but we're just kind of in a like a little glass funnel over here to where we only are focused on the Lions. But man, these injuries in the secondary, it's ridiculous. And it's not just this year. It feels like every year there's just constantly like turnover of injuries, just boom, boom, boom. And it's like with Ennis Rakestraw, with Emmanuel Mosley. I don't know if it's something we've had this conversation before with the training staff or what it is, but it feels like we're constantly dealing with injuries in the secondary. It does. And I don't know. And obviously you could say that for the whole defense last year, but now this year getting hit with it again. But it's like you're really getting killed this year with the secondary. Like you have like what, 4? You have DJ Reed, Terrion, who else am I missing? Avante Maddox, Dorsey, Ennis Rakestraw. That's 5, probably your top 7 or 8 because Daniel
Thomas, who they signed, is injured. He's 6.
Yeah, at that point, you're looking at Kirby's been injured and has going through his knee. Brian Branch injured this last week. And then Amik broke his arm last year, his forearm. So it's like every single secondary player you've had on this team has dealt with some sort of injury in the last 12 months. And especially over the last month, you have 5 of your top 8 secondary players are out and you're having to fill holes constantly. And the 3 guys that are playing, the starters, 2 of them are battling through injuries, like serious things that they're trying to play through and constantly getting hurt. Like Kirby just constantly going through these knee injuries. It's actually an issue, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why this keeps happening, but there's something's wrong with it. I don't know. That's me being like a little conspiracy theory there. They got to figure that out.
Yeah, they've suffered some injuries in that secondary, and it seems like last year it was the D-line. This year it's the secondary. Like, it's the complete opposite. I don't know what the hell is going on. It could be the 49ers. It could be worse. The 49ers, they've been cursed for the last couple of years. I mean,
they have been. There's a free agent. I got to go look. I want to go look real quick. There's a safety out there, I think, that it's not played football. I don't know why he's not.
Simmons?
Yes. Why is he not playing football?
He's probably waiting for an opportunity.
Come play football. Come play football. You want to win a Super Bowl? Come on.
Yeah, he's waiting on an opportunity for sure.
Why is he not signed? He should be signed by now. Is there something?
A lot of guys, when you're at that point, teams are interested. He's probably waiting for someone like a starter to be injured. He could just sign mid-season.
Dude, he was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago.
Oh, he's
second team All-Pro 2 years ago. Last year, how is he not on a football team? If you're that good, why are you not on a team?
He's probably been called. He's probably been reached out to a bunch.
That makes me think there's like a red flag. Because like I get what you're saying, you're waiting. What are you waiting for? It's week 6. There's no waiting. Waiting would be like week 1 or 2. Week 6, it's like, all right, there's something going on.
Yeah, maybe he's at the point he's like, I just want to win that ring. I'll join.
Then come to Detroit, dude. People will love Justin Simmons here.
J Hart, CJGJ. He's on the Ravens practice squad. That's who.
Dude, imagine this. Are you ready for this? Imagine in the playoffs. Let me give you a secondary. You want to know something? Imagine in the playoffs. Are you ready for this, Jeff?
I'm ready.
DJ Reed, Cube CB1.
Wow.
Amik Robertson, CB2 outside. Brian Branch, nickel. Kirby Joseph and Justin Simmons back.
Wow. Tracy Walker. Could I interest you?
No, I'm okay. He would literally, we would trade for him, and he would like, oh, he's out. We would get the alert. It'd be like Tracy Walker. We just Detroit Lions trade for Tracy Walker. Breaking news, and then like 3 days later, per Adam Schefter, Tracy Walker has been put on IR by the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, pretty quickly. Yeah. Well, I do have to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. So allow me to do just that. Okay, let me just not do that. Actually.
There we go.
So we don't get.
It's our critical thinking.
It is critical. And guess what else is critical? Having Sleeper fantasy for this football season. And let me tell you, it's a fantasy sports and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports. If you guys should know what Sleeper is, it's the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world. With millions and millions of active users, it's the best way to experience sports and connect over sports together. Check out Sleeper Picks as well, which I will be coming out with my Sleeper Picks for this upcoming Monday night game for the Detroit Lions facing the Buccaneers, because it's a real money product that connects friends over picks. It's very simple. You choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. You pick more or less than the predicted stats, and then on Sleeper, you can get up to 1,000x payouts. Share with your friends, get rewarded together. Shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. They also have a $20 entry free. When you get on there, get a 100% match up to $100 when you use the code CT Sports. Check it out. All right. We got to welcome in a very, very, very special guest. Absolute legend. We got some things to talk with Flannel about today. They have to do with Brian. They have to do with Tigers. Please welcome to the show, former co-host of the Morning Woodward Show, Wake Up Woodward, Flannel Sam. Sam, how are we doing?
It's funny. I came into today I thought I'd come in today after last night, because I picked the Chiefs to win, and not because I'm some sort of genius or anything, and not because I'm a Chiefs fan, which a lot of people think that I am. It's because it was the most obvious spot game of all time. And it played out in a lot of ways exactly like I thought. The Chiefs have Super Bowl DNA, still some great prideful players who hadn't really been stepping up. Obviously, coaching staff, all of that, and they were desperate. They were in a hole. If they go to 2-4, you're really looking at potentially missing the playoffs for a team that's been to 5 Super Bowls out of the last 6 and won 3 of them. But instead, the behavior by our fan base and by our secondary members has really pissed me off today. I'll just say that. Really, really pissed me off.
Yeah, Flannel, I'm right there with you. In Flannel, you know me. I mean, you know me very well. I don't ever get mad. I'm a slappy. I don't ever get mad at players. I always back up. Me and you have been in a million debates and arguments where I've defended players in the Lions versus you.
Yeah.
The last 24 hours since this loss, I don't like what I've seen from some of these guys. Really don't. I don't. And I'm typically one of the main ones at the front lines defending these dudes. But that was ridiculous what happened last night on all forms. Blaming the refs, Brian Branch, Kirby tweet. It's just like, dude, what are we doing here? It's nuts.
Well, and this is where, Dad's in the room. And in this case, I'm Dad. I'm not your guys' dad. I'm just somebody who's going to add some actual perspective and not just huffing copium like some of the players and some of the fans have been doing. When you look at last night, I'm going to give you actual football reasons why the Chiefs won. And for the record, in a vacuum, I'm not mad that the Lions lost that game. I predicted it. They're going to be fine as long as they beat a very banged up Buccaneers team on Monday Night Football. You go into the bye week 5-2, you're fine. But let me tell you why the Chiefs won that game. In the Lions' 4-game winning streak after the Packers loss, they averaged 40 points per game. Last night at Arrowhead, they scored 17. The Chiefs had more first downs, 26-18. The Chiefs were 2 of 3 on fourth down. The Lions 0 of 2. The Chiefs had 243 passing yards. The Lions had 199. The Chiefs outrushed the Lions 112-88. It was either 88 or 98. My notes are a little bit hard to read, but still, the Chiefs outrushed the Lions. And prior to last night's game, the Chiefs' leading rusher was Patrick Mahomes, whose career high is a whopping 389, going up against David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Obviously, Isaiah Pacheco got it going a little bit, but going into last night's game, if you're the Lions, you probably think we can't let the Chiefs outrush us, and they did. And also, the Chiefs in the red zone, they got to the red zone 6 times. They converted 4 of those into touchdowns. The Chiefs outplayed the Lions in pretty much every single facet. And furthermore, I'm not even done yet. Amon-Ra St. Brown had as uncharacteristic as a drop as you'll ever see. And it was in a big spot. It was 4th and 2 from the Chiefs 44 with 2:42 left in the first half. If he catches that ball on that 4th down, the Lions have a chance to bleed some more clock, go up 17-6 or maybe 17-9 or 17-13, but at least get it to 17 before halftime. And we see where it goes from there. But instead, because Amon-Ra St. Brown dropped that ball, the Chiefs were able to drive down, get a touchdown, and then get another one after halftime. And all of a sudden it's 20-10. Also, Aiden Hutchinson, when the Lions were when the Chiefs were up 20-17, the Chiefs were facing a 2nd and 7. Patrick Mahomes throws an incomplete pass, and Aiden Hutchinson commits about as egregious of a roughing the passer penalty as you'll ever see. Instead of 3rd and 7 and the Chiefs facing a 3rd down and relatively long with all of the pressure, up 3, maybe looking at potentially giving the ball back to the Lions, only up 3 and the Lions down 3. Instead, you get 1st and 10. Because of that roughing the passer, the Chiefs are able to drive it down the field and take a 10-point lead, and that was pretty much all she wrote. The Lions didn't play well enough. The Chiefs played like a desperate good team that they were, and 2 out of your probably 3 best players, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Aiden Hutchinson, made very uncharacteristic mistakes. You can't win football games that way. That's why the Lions lost, not because of the refs or any of that BS. The Lions did not deserve to win, and it's okay. I want to be okay. I don't want to yell and scream. I don't want to be pissed off at people, but man, these players and these fans they're giving me hives, man. They're giving me hives. I can't take it anymore.
Flannel, the biggest thing we were talking about today was the stuff with Brian Branch, the 1-game suspension. What did you kind of make of that? In the, I guess people either defending him or excusing him. What'd you make of the action of Brian and him being suspended now against the Bucs? How significant is that?
So it's very significant because think about this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're obviously a very good team, and Baker Mayfield has had an MVP caliber season, but they're also banged up really badly. They're probably going to be missing Ibuka. They're going to be missing Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. I think Evans is questionable. They've had all kinds of injuries this season. But the Lions, they're also injured. There's going to be no DJ Reed or a Terrion Arnold. And now you're looking at no Brian Branch. You could have had such an advantage over the Buccaneers. Obviously, it'd be a bigger advantage if your corners were healthy, but Brian Branch, I think we would all agree that he's probably the second best player on this defense, and now he's not going to play because he was trying to fight a personal vendetta. I don't care if you think that Patrick Mahomes flexed on you or taunted you. When Patrick Mahomes wants to shake your hand after a football game, you shake his goddamn hand. I bet you shook his hand when you picked him off for that pick 6 2 years ago. I bet you did that. I bet you have real good sportsmanship with all of the plethora of wins that Brian Branch has helped the Lions get over these last couple of years. I bet you did. That's my problem. This fan base, and especially this secondary, and it's not just Branch, by the way, are becoming sore losers, are becoming people who feel like it's the Lions' birthright to win every single goddamn game they play, even though this is only the third year they've been good. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. And I don't want to be like this. I'm not mad at the Lions for losing. I'm mad at certain factions of players and fans. That's all.
Flannel, I do got to say, no one's forcing me to shake Patrick Mahomes' hand. I don't have to shake Patrick Mahomes' hand.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Would you shake Tom Brady's hand? Would you
I would shake Tom Brady's hand. I don't have to shake his hand, though. Yeah. I think Brian Branch, I'm on the side of, hey, you can ignore his hand if you want. Let's just not hit a player after it. It's cool. Yeah. Hey, I'll walk away. I won't shake her hand. I'm just walking away, though.
Okay, fine.
We don't need a fight.
No, you don't need a fight. And because of this, Brian Branch is probably not going to play against the Buccaneers. I know he's been suspended and he's like appealing. I don't really know how that's going to all play out. But yet, as you guys know, some of these Lions fans, oh, Brian Branch is a real one. Fuck that, dude. You won't be saying that if the Lions unnecessarily fall to 4-3. And I'm not saying 4-3 is a death sentence or anything, but Brian Branch is a great player. I love Brian Branch. I like him as a player. I don't know if I like him as much of a person right now, but he's a good player. He should be out there. You can't be, and even when he apologized, but you know he's not sorry because he was making all kinds of excuses afterwards. They tried to bully me. I don't care. I don't care. It's after the game. It's a sickness. It's a scourge. When it comes to this secondary with him, with Kirby Joseph and his Twitter disgrace, with Terrion Arnold doing the whole Undertaker meme with Dan Campbell and Patrick Mahomes before the game, with the fans, the way they're acting, it's a society right now we live in, especially with sports fans, sports players, and especially prevalent on Twitter, where when you as a team or you as a player or you as a fan, your team loses, you always got to be like, well, I'm leaving with something to claim your own personal victories or your own personal vendettas. It's stupid. Just take the L and move on. It's okay. But apparently it's not okay.
Yeah, I think for this, just speaking about that game specifically too, what do you think of the Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery usage? Because it seemed like in that game, David had 4 carries, Jahmyr had 17, and I think David played 30% of the snaps. Jahmyr played like 60-something%. What do you, how do you think they kind of move? What have you made of how they've kind of shared the backfield, and what should they do in your opinion moving forward? Because it seems like they're starting the game with Jahmyr now, as opposed to starting with David Montgomery in the past.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the way that they're using the backfield because I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 3 back in the NFL, maybe top 3, top 4, top 5 at the absolute worst. David Montgomery's obviously had his moments too, especially against Baltimore. It is what it is. I don't think running back usage played a role in why the Lions lost that game or anything. I'm 100% okay with it.
Flannels, is Hutch going to win Defensive Player of the Year? Man looks deep. Like he looks.
Except for the late hit, Flannel, but he had the
outside sack. The late hit. Late hit was uncharacteristic. It felt like I didn't like that
for sure.
I want to say yes, but Nick Bonito is playing like a bad man right now.
Yeah, he's leading the league with 8, I think, right now.
And
yeah, he is. He's a favorite too on sportsbooks.
Yeah, no, but Aiden Hutchinson, he's on pace for 17 sacks. If he gets like 15 or above, has a bunch of pressures, a bunch of hits, is good against the run, has a lot of TFLs, and this Lions defense is good, I'm not going to put a ton of stock into whether or not he wins Defensive Player of the Year, because by that definition, if you do all of that, you had a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season. That's all I'm really asking for. Would I like to see him be rewarded with that hardware at some point in his career? Yes. Do I think he will get at least one? Absolutely. On track to what I think will be a Hall of Fame career. But at the end of the day, just have a monster season. And so far, that terrible roughing the passer call notwithstanding, it's not that he's getting sacks. He's like the forced fumble king right now. And that's absolutely huge. It would have been so nice if the Lions could have fallen on that one last night. I couldn't believe it that Mahomes got back on it, but still, if you can get a bunch of sacks and force a bunch of fumbles, you are truly a game wrecker.
Yeah, Flan, I want to ask you too, but because they have the Bucs game coming up, what do you think of just the NFC as a whole right now? The Eagles just lost to Za'Darius, so I'd like to get your thoughts on that. People are saying, Brad knew he was going to retire, taking a victory lap. Of course, Brad knows everything. That's what people are telling me. And then you have the Buccaneers, who are 5-1. You have the Rams, who are kind of hanging in there. They just won this weekend as well. What do you think of just the NFC as a conference and kind of where the Lions still stand in the Bucs game coming up? Honestly, just the NFC as a whole.
I made a promise that unless the Lions just got dump trucked and looked terrible or suffered more injuries during the Chiefs game, that I wasn't going to let it impact how I feel about them in the NFC. And I'm going to keep my word on that. I would still say that right now the Lions are the best team. What we have to be mindful of, because guys like DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold and Decker and Aleem coming back, those aren't season ending. But when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, you see what they've been able to do with Baker Mayfield, even though, you can go down the line. Mike Evans has missed 3 games. Chris Godwin has missed 4. Bucky Irving has missed 2. Abuka's now hurt. Jalen McMillan hasn't played. Tristan Wirfs has missed 3. But with all of those guys, I don't think any of them are season ending. I know Kalijah Cansey on defense is, but watch out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've gained a lot of respect for Baker Mayfield during his time with Tampa. I used to be a number 1 Baker hater. I still don't like him, but I can admit that he's been objectively really, really good. And of course, you always got to worry about the Eagles, the Rams. I'd say right now we're looking at Lions, Eagles, Rams, Buccaneers in no particular order as your top 4 class of the NFC. But I'll take the Lions number 1 still.
What do you think, Flannel? We actually just had this conversation over the next. There's a bee in this room right now. I just want that on record. I see a bee flying around. What do you think the next 4 games for this Lions team? I said so. Obviously, Flannel, they play in the next 4 games. It's the Bucs, Vikings, Commanders, and Eagles. With the Eagles and Commanders being on the road. What are your thoughts on that? I said that I think they go 3-1. I think they get a win on Monday versus Tampa with the beat up. They're out 4 of their top 5 weapons. Lions don't lose back-to-back games in the last 2 years, so I would say that's a win. And then I also said Vikings is a win. Commanders, they're losing to the Bears right now, so I would give that a win. And then the Eagles was the loss that I had. What are your thoughts on that, and what record do you think they go through this next 4-game stretch?
I'll go 3-1 as well.
Here we go, Flannel.
I think
let's go.
As the season has played out, teams don't necessarily look as formidable. And don't get me wrong, I think a fully healthy Buccaneers team will be formidable. And obviously the Lions have the injuries of their own, but I think they do win that game. I do think they win against the Buccaneers, even if Brian Branch isn't playing and it's looking like he's not. Although I wouldn't say that if the Buccaneers were more healthy. I think the Vikings is a win. I think they at least it's a win on paper. I either think they lose at Philly or they drop one of the other 3 that maybe you're like, they probably shouldn't have won, but at least these teams are pretty good. I'll say 3-1. And if you get 3-1 in your next 4, if you're the Lions, you would take that 100 times out of 100 and you're flying high to where, and then you get the rest of the season when your schedule lightens up a bit.
Hey, Flannel, what'd you think of the Tigers' loss I mean, we had a extra innings game that was absolutely disgusting offensively. Tarek Skubal played his absolute ass off, and Scott Harris was kind of non-committal. Just when speaking about, he doesn't want to speak about anything.
Scott Harris thing today was weird about Skubal. He's like, I can't talk about. Yes, you can talk about it. That's your star player. Say something, dude. Jeez.
Yeah. What'd you think of the game, Flannel? And we'll get to the other storylines, but just that loss in Game 5 to the Mariners.
Well, the loss to the Mariners ensured that the Tigers' season was ultimately a failure. And I know, like, I get it. Some people will say, what difference does one game make? Whether they make the ALCS or the ALDS, they blew the division. I get all of that kind of in tandem with each other. But I think if you make the ALCS, no matter how you got there, with this team, it's a success. But with just this game, and I don't want to make these broad generalizations over one game, but it's the most important game of the year. And I said this to Caleb on Saturday. If you would have told me before that game that Tarek Skubal was going to go 6 innings, 1 earned run, and Kerry Carpenter was going to get on base 6 times, I would have honestly thought, and I'm dead serious, and I kind of shot myself short on Saturday, I would have thought 10-1, 10-2 victory. But we all know that didn't happen because, unfortunately, whether you love those guys, think that they need to upgrade, think that some of them need to be traded, no matter how you feel about the Torres, Green, Torkelson, and Keith heart of the order, which it was on that fateful Friday night, they went over. It was one of the worst performances by any heart of the order we'll ever see, and that's ultimately what lost them the game. That's it. That's all. You can look at other things, but it was just a putrid performance by the guys that you count on to be better. And the worst part is that Kerry Carpenter was setting the table all the time by constantly getting on base and even got a 2-run homer. So you got to blame the bats for that loss specifically.
What's the offseason plan, Flannel? What do you think? Because Scott Harris talked today, and he seems like, I don't know. Scott Harris, I'll say this about Scott Harris, and I know, like, he seems smart. Like, some of the things he does say, it's like, okay, but then there are things where it's like, dude, it's a little frustrating. I don't know if you get the same sense, Flannel, but there are some things. It's just like a half and half type of situation. What do you think the plan should be this offseason?
Well, I think the frustration comes with the fact that Scott Harris has a way that he thinks is right, and I don't think he's always going to do what we want him to do. In my opinion, I've thrown down my swords. I don't think that Riley Green can be your best offensive player on a World Series caliber team. I think you need to get another impact bat if you can. It's really hard for me to say who right now because it's still so raw, but I'm looking at a guy like Kyle Tucker, whose value has depreciated a little bit with the way he played the second half of the season on the Cubs. I think he's somebody that the Tigers should look into. I think there's still questions in the starting rotation. Reese Olson, can he stay healthy? Tarek Skubal, obviously the future of Tarek Skubal is in doubt, but it looks like he'll be there next year unless they trade him. The bullpen, there's a lot of questions with that. I know with the pitching staff, a guy like Troy Melton is somebody that you can count on being either part of the rotation or the bullpen next year. You saw a lot of nice things from him, but you're going to be losing Canely. You're going to probably be losing Finnegan, Montero, which people probably aren't even that mad about that. You're losing Gleyber Torres. I think the only one that you really have a lot of faith in right now is probably Will Vest. It's sad because, unfortunately, this was a team that made the playoffs for the second year in a row. They beat the Guardians in the wild card round, which was awesome, no matter what. Obviously, you'd like the Tigers to go further and you'd like them not to the Bowl division, but that was awesome. But there's still a lot of question marks. Like too many question marks, in my opinion. And there's some things that you can look at as positives, like Riley Green being a 30 home run, 100 RBI guy. That was awesome. The emergence of Dylan Dingler, Spencer Torkelson having his best season. You look at Casey Mize having a good year to the point where he's at least a member of the starting rotation. You can look at a lot of positives, but at the end of the day, this is still a team that has a lot of question marks and a lot of holes. And I have no idea how Scott Harris is going to fill them. If I had to take a guess, I think it's going to be more developing the young guys in the minors, the guys that we're really excited about, like the McGonagalls and the Clarks, and making more Moneyball type moves. Like Gleyber Torres, that was kind of a Moneyball type move, and it worked for the most part. Let's see if Scott Harris can do that again. I know that's not what people want to hear, and that's not even necessarily what I want, but Scott Harris is stubborn, and he is the smartest man in the room, according to him. That may not be a terrible thing moving forward, but that is what he is, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
Flannel,
did
you hear the breakdown, like him breaking down the trade deadline? Were you able to? Did you hear that at all, or see the clip of it?
Is that where he said that? It's really, he worded that kind of funny.
Yeah. I was just saying. So he essentially said, Flannel. He was just like the trades that we would have made. Everyone, the players that were in the media that everyone was rumors of, that they wanted at least one player that was going to be on our starting in our playoff roster, plus more assets, or one of our top prospects, which no one I felt like in the Tigers world was willing to go, give up one of those top guys, plus more, of a bigger package as well. And he just said, and I don't know if this is true or not, because you have to just kind of take his word with it, but he said that all of the guys that they essentially were targeted towards, none of them essentially lived up in the second half of the season or in the playoffs to what we would have needed them to do. And the players that we would have had to send and take off of this roster, in this playoff roster, that those players outperform the players we were going to bring in if we had to give them up. Which he made it. I don't know if that's him trying to like win the fans over again, but if like that is true, then obviously you could argue he made the right choice. But that's like a hindsight. Do you trust Scott Harris? Is that, what do the packages actually look like? Is he trying to save, himself in those situations to win back the fan base? I don't know. It felt like a weird, I don't know if you got the same sense of that, but it felt like a weird kind of situation there.
Well, I think what Scott Harris is referring to, and I'll give you a couple of examples. I don't give a damn that Eugenio Suarez is still playing with the Seattle Mariners. He has been awful during his time with the Mariners. Look at his numbers in the regular season and with the Mariners, and batting average under 200, and OPS under 700, and OBP under 260. Hasn't been good in the playoffs either. And I'm not saying I agree with this, but you saw teams make impact moves. Like, I'll give you a couple examples. The San Diego Padres, they traded their number one prospect, the number 3 prospect in baseball, for relief pitcher Mason Miller, who previously played on Oakland. Well, which is now the Sacramento, Las Vegas A's, but you know what I mean. Mason Miller was fantastic for the Padres and was great in the playoffs. It didn't mean anything because Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado shit the bed. You look at the New York Yankees, they got David Bednar. Didn't mean anything because the Yankees couldn't keep the Blue Jays off the board, at least in the first couple of games at Toronto in the ALDS. You look at the Philadelphia Phillies, they got Yohan Duran, and it didn't really do anything for them, even though as individuals, Miller, Bednar, Duran, and I know Mason Miller still has some team control, they all did well and were crucial bullpen arms. It didn't result in them winning anything, and they had to give up more for what they got than the Tigers had to give up for what they got. I'm not saying that I didn't want to get any of those guys, but if you're Scott Harris, you can take a little bit of solace in that some of the teams that were a little bit more aggressive didn't get any farther than the Tigers, and Eugenio Suarez as an individual has been dog water with the Mariners. Even today, where they blew the doors off of Toronto, I don't think Suarez got a hit. Not saying I think it's right, his approach. It's just I think that Scott Harris at least has a leg to stand on when it comes to that, even though people don't want to hear it.
What have you thought of the kind of the resurgence of Javi Baez, Sam? Because it seemed like he was one of their better players this playoff run. He's been one of their more consistent players, and this is coming from a player who got one of the most hated players in Detroit at one point. And then, he was clearly dealing with a significant injury. He's healthy, and he's playing way better baseball. But what have you kind of thought of the resurgence of him this season and the postseason?
Well, I have a different view of Javi Baez than most of the fan base because I actually think he's become the most beloved Tiger. And I think that's insane, by the way, but I will give him credit for the postseason he had. He had a phenomenal postseason. The first half of the season was really, really good. But at the end of the day, Javi Baez, the postseason he had, did not make up for his tenure in Detroit. For the first 3 years he was in Detroit, he was either hurt or the worst player in baseball, the worst everyday player in baseball. And even this year in his all-star starting season, which was a joke, by the way, it should have been Byron Buxton or George Springer, no question about it. He didn't even have an OPS over 700. Javi Baez is just, I think he's somebody that could maybe start and play some games for you moving forward as an 8th or 9th hitter. But I think a lot of what has endeared Javi Baez to the fans is A, people like redemption, and B, he's an aura farmer. You know how I feel about aura. I think that it's fake. I think that it's dumb. I think that it's people to have it both ways. Oh, that's a good looking strikeout, or oh, that's a good looking flyout, all that bullshit. But I'm not as high on Javi as the rest of the Tigers fan base. Congratulations on having your best year as a Tiger this year. It was a very, very low bar to clear.
You don't like aura, Flannel?
No, I don't. No, I don't. It's not real.
Man, are you sure?
I'm positive.
I think you've got a little aura.
I don't, but thank you.
Hey, Flannel. Yeah, go on.
What were you going to say, Jeff?
No, I wanted to ask him a little NFL because I got some things I wanted to see.
Oh, hold on a sec. No, Flannel. Can we move on from Sharon Moore, the Michigan Wolverines? $5 million buyout. Buy the man out. Move on.
I will say this. I think, God. Well, here's the thing. In major college football, with NIL and everything, you can make turnarounds really quickly. If I wanted to be a real hard ass, I would say playoffs or fired. But I'll tell you this. If Michigan loses any regular season game this year between now and Ohio State, Sharon Moore should be fired the next day. Sharon Moore can save his job if he goes into Ohio State with 2 losses. And if they win and make the playoffs, obviously Sharon Moore will be allowed to stay because either he found something or his players overcame him. But his tenure as a Michigan coach so far has been very, very mixed. Bad year last year. This year, the team and the offense in particular looks really bogged down while he's manning the sidelines. There have been a lot of questionable decisions. This might not work, and I'm fully ready to admit that right now. There's a chance it doesn't work.
I think it's over. Let him go. Cut ties.
I can't kill you for that. I really can't.
I'm tired of it.
I'm not mad at all.
Yeah, it's you have Michigan State kind of going through that same kind of thing right now too. Yeah. It's Sharon Moore. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Steve Lehman, bring me Gruden. Give me John Gruden in Michigan. That's a name. I haven't heard that yet. I would take John Gruden so fast in Michigan.
I can't imagine John Gruden coaching college football.
And you know what, too? The connection with Dave Portnoy. Works for Dave Portnoy. Portnoy, Michigan man. Helped get Bryce Underwood.
Yeah.
Imagine he gets Gruden there. And
for the record, I love what I've seen from Bryce Underwood so far. Like, I think he's actually shown a lot. I understand that at times they've handcuffed him a bit. And of course, when Justice Haynes was in there, it's been more of a running offense. But Bryce Underwood is good. He's a true freshman, so he's going to have some lumps, but I have a lot of faith in him. Nothing about Michigan's 4-2 start, I think, is on Bryce Underwood in totality. Could he have played a little bit better in both the Oklahoma or USC games? Sure, but I'm very encouraged by Bryce Underwood, and I hope most Michigan fans are too.
What about, I want to ask you, Flannel, a little NFL. Had this discussion the other day. Did you watch the Jets game this weekend?
I caught what I could of it, and it was, I kind of wish I hadn't.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn, I mean, I think when he was here, and I said this too, like I think he has a lot of leadership qualities that would translate to being a better head coach. But then you got to actually see him be a head coach, and I'm thinking, boy, I was wrong. Their defense played better against the Broncos, but their defense has not been up to par this year, even with all the talent they have. And on top of that, he's making all of the wrong decisions consistently, which comes with being a head coach. So now I'm sitting here thinking, will Aaron Glenn finish the season with the Jets? Like, is this guy going to make it through the season, Flannel? with what's going on. Only winless team right now in the league.
I hate to be this person too, but we were all told that Aaron Glenn was going to be the one who was going to succeed, and Justin Fields was going to have a resurgence, while Ben Johnson was going to be trash, and Caleb Williams was going to be a combination of Satan, Ryan Leaf, and Liberace. hey, remember that really cool celebration Aaron Glenn did on the sideline?
Yep. Yeah.
That's aura, Flannel. That is aura.
Have they won a single game? No,
they have not.
Aaron, and by the way, let me just pontificate for just 1 second.
Ooh.
Justin Fields is poop water. He's awful. And for some reason, I've had this battle before. I know you probably have too, Jeff, as a Caleb Williams supporter. There seems to be a weird affinity that Lions fans always had with Justin Fields. I remember when they drafted Caleb Williams, the Bears drafted Caleb Williams and traded Justin Fields. So many Lions fans were like, oh, Caleb's going to be the biggest bust in NFL history and Justin Fields is going to be good. They're going to regret losing Justin Fields. No. Justin Fields is awful. He stinks. The fucking Jets had negative net passing yards. Negative net. That's impossible. They did it. They're winless. They're going to win at most 2 games. Aaron Glenn might actually be one and done. That happens nowadays. And I'm not rooting for it or anything. I respect Aaron Glenn a lot for what he did with the Lions, especially last year and the year before with iffy talent at some positions, but it's not working for either Aaron Glenn or Justin Fields. They're the worst team in football by a long shot.
Yeah, well, the Bears are up right now against the Commanders. They're hanging on. I mean, and the Bills are down 21-14 to the Falcons. Bijan Robinson has 150 yards, and we're just going into the fourth quarter. So
yeah.
if you want to talk about losses that are probably tough to handle, Bills just coming off a loss against the Patriots, and now they might lose to the Falcons. Like, that's probably way worse.
Well, they have to be careful because now the Patriots objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, or whatever that saying is.
I mean, you got it right.
The Bills coming into the season were thought of as probably the surest thing to win their division, but the Patriots have that head-to-head. They look good. Mike Vrabel looks like he's been a godsend for them. Drake May looks like a young franchise quarterback. I think their schedule is a little lighter than most because they've been a bad team lately. The Bills, they got to get their ish together because if they don't win the division, if you're the Bills, let's just say this, you really, 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 really don't want to risk having to go to Arrowhead in the playoffs again. And the way the season started, you thought, oh, the Bills, they're going to go 13-3. The Chiefs, at best, they'll probably go 11-6, and they might not even win their division. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Bills got to wake up.
Yeah, well, the Patriots...
I'm a little worried.
By the way, the Patriots' schedule over the next couple of games, they have the Tennessee Titans, the Browns, the Falcons.
When?
The Falcons will be a tougher one, but they have the Titans and the Browns the next 2 games. I mean, they could literally be 6-2 when they're facing the Falcons.
Yeah,
that's crazy. They're a good team defensively, and then offensively. Drake May, he's an MVP candidate right now, which is nuts to say.
Oh, yeah.
In year one of a Mike Vrabel kind of takeover instantly.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Flannel, before we get you out of here, can I get your thoughts on the Wings so far? I mean, what's kind of the make or break here for Steve
2 big wins too?
Yep, because they're is it playoffs or bust at this point, right? Is this where we're at with the Wings?
It 1,000% is playoffs or bust. I think it could have been playoffs or bust for the last couple of years, but they let Steve Yzerman stick around. You obviously see that they're going more with the youth movement, guys like MBN and ASP, and obviously Marco Casper continuing to grow, Raymond, Sider, Larkin. They didn't really do a whole lot in the offseason, but I will say this. I do think, even though we were all frustrated, the way that some Wings fans were reacting to an opening night loss was a little bit embarrassing. And that's why you don't do that in a season, even in an NFL season, but especially not an NHL season where there's 82 of them things. I understand being skeptical and thinking, oh, here we go again. Here's another bad season. But what have they done since then? They swept a home and home with Toronto, which is basically every Red Wings fan's like fat fever dream. Nobody likes Toronto. Toronto's obviously been better lately, and the Red Wings have really kind of made short work of them, and they've looked impressive. But it absolutely is playoffs or bust. There's no excuses this season. I don't care if they don't make it, but the young guys look good. You don't get this much time to show no real tangible progress in the standings, which the Red Wings really haven't been. They went from being terrible to lesser terrible to almost making the playoffs to a regression last year. Can't happen again. Cannot happen again.
I agree with that, Flannel. We'll see. I give Mike shit. I know Booner has got a bet they'll make the playoffs. They're 2-1. And actually, they lost to Montreal, and the Maple Leafs beat them, and they just beat the Maple Leafs twice. So they look pretty good. We'll see what happens. Flannel, we appreciate the hell out of you. Keep up the great work, my friend, and we will talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week. Keep up the great work.
There you
love
go.
you, Flannel.
Flannel Sam, the one, the only, joining the program, talking to the fellas here. We got some super chats I wasn't able to get to during it. Nobody says we want flannel. We want flannel. We want flannel.
There we go.
Stephen Alexander, thank you for the $2. Says Flannel, go tell that to Brian Branch. Thank you for the $2, Stephen, as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of peeping this game in the background here. This is the Commanders actually look like shit. They have 7 points going into halftime right now. So,
what's the score?
13-7.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Commanders, I don't know what we were talking about anyways. Like, the Commanders haven't looked good all season anyways.
No, they beat the Chargers, but the Chargers are going through a lot of shit
but like even before Jane Daniels got hurt, they were struggling versus the Packers. And it's like they just haven't looked like the Commanders of last year. Not at all yet. So,
you know, I was going to bring up yesterday, the Lions got to figure out this kick return thing. I know we brought it up on the postgame show. Like, I can't see Craig Reynolds return any more kicks.
Dude, he had the one time where he had open field. He got caught from behind from like
I can't do it.
I don't know who. I don't even know if there was like a linebacker that caught him from behind. I like Craig.
I can't.
You just got to get someone that with some speed back there. People hate it when I say like JMO or something, but why not have like a Khalif or someone that you know can actually get you something? If there's an opening, you want to at least get like 15, 20 yards out of it.
Well, hold on. Lions. Who's the
Well, they had what's his name? Who's our rookie? Dominic Lovett, I think, was out there yesterday.
He was out there, yeah.
He's fast. He's got some speed.
Well, they have Jacob Sailors.
Yeah, someone said yesterday was like, well, Jacob Sailors can return it quick. I don't know if he can.
Well, I want to look up his 40. His 40 was 4.56. So he's not really the fastest guy. But Lovett's probably their best option right now, to be honest. I don't know about his hands. That's another thing we gotta see. It's a big thing about if you're returning, you gotta have hands. But he is fast. I mean, Lovett ran like a 4.4, so he's probably their best option. But yeah, like seems like why is Craig and Stewart returning kicks? I don't know. They don't really get anything off kick returns. Like they really never do. Which, you know, preference. You want to get better field position. It hasn't really mattered. They scored a bunch of points. But yeah, that's something I was going to bring up earlier, but I forgot to. We got to figure out what we're doing at these kick return things, man. I can't see Craig do another one. I just can't. And I definitely don't want to see Grant Stewart do it. All due respect.
Yeah, that was crazy that Grant Stewart was returning kicks. The crazy part about it is like you should take advantage of it. You are getting more returns in the NFL now. Why not put yourself in a position to be more successful doing it, right? Like there's the kicking zone. Typically, like the ball is just going to the end zone. And if you want to return it, you have a speedster back there that's going to return it. But like now the ball's going to the 5, the 10, the 15-yard line to where there's opportunities for you to get the ball at the 35, at the 40. Why not do it?
Yeah, the Bears going into halftime right now. This would be a big win for them. Put them over 500. This division, I don't know.
It's got Jeff distracted over there looking away.
No,
I'm like, what are you looking at? Bears, of course. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
It'd be a good win for them. I mean, shit, you're looking at like the juxtaposition with the Jets.
I can't believe the Bills are losing right now, dude.
And the Bills are getting diced up by Michael Penix. I mean,
it's about to be. Well, it's honestly, I don't even know if it's Michael Penix. It's just Bijan. Bijan's cooking them. Bijan is cooking them. They're just doing dump downs to Bijan.
What's he doing in the pass game? I know he's at 150 yards. He has oh my god. And then Drake London has 150. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh. And honestly, they just beat the Commanders last week. Commanders they lost to the Falcons last week. The Falcons are actually not too bad. They're hanging in there too.
they're 2-2. Yeah, just the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean that's
Kyle Pitts just caught a screen pass and just like stumbled with no one tackled him. He just fell on his own. It was not good.
Yeah, Bijan's got almost 200 yards from scrimmage.
They're Bijan's just cooking them tonight. They just can't stop Bijan.
Yeah, I'm telling you. There's other teams with bigger problems, like the Bills got the Bills got bigger problems right now, dude. They for sure do. Yeah, they do. Austin says Washington is at the bottom of the NFL in run defense. Yeah, I know
DeAndre Swift's cooking them tonight.
Yeah, he's averaging like 7 yards a carry in the first half. Almost 8 yards a carry. So yeah, I mean, this Lions team, this Washington team isn't like it was last year, honestly. Yeah. And Jaden Daniels hasn't looked. He's still coming back from injury, so he's still kind of getting into the rhythm of things. So we'll be all right. We got about 8 minutes till mailbag. I mean, we could chop it about the Tigers. I mean, I know we didn't really get to share our thoughts on it. What Scott Harris said today.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Scott Harris stuff. I wonder if there's any clips here.
Let me see.
It's really just that one that I asked Flannel about. That was just interesting to me with the trade deadline because at the end of the day, dude, it was like the trade deadline was such a pivotal point of this season to where other teams, obviously like Seattle and those teams, and Flannel's not wrong. Like those teams made moves, but like what is Eugenio Suarez actually doing? Nothing for that team. And it's the same thing.
Here, I have it right here.
It's the same thing with a lot of different players where like, you know, Scott, I kind of, I don't want to say I agree with Scott Harris, but if it's true, you know what I mean? Like if what he says is true about the trade deadline, I can see why he didn't make a move then, right?
Well, here's what
I can understand it.
Here's the exact clip.
Regret not pulling the trigger on the deals that we had access to at the deadline. I don't. And I'll tell you why. I think I'm even more confident now than I was then that the deals that we had access to that we passed on would have frustrated our fans more than not doing the deals. It's really tough in my job right now because I can't share the exact deals for obvious reasons, but I can share some details that hopefully are pretty illuminating. I would tell you that the players that were most closely connected to us via the media would have cost either a player on our postseason roster plus additional pieces or one of our top prospects plus additional pieces. In some cases, with those deals that were most closely connected to us, those players that were most closely connected to us, those players, some of them didn't perform at all down the stretch, would have been a free agent in 2 months, and would have cost a player on our postseason roster that actually performed better than the player we acquired and was controllable in the future. So think about that for a second. We could have acquired a player who was going to be a pending free agent on the day of the deadline. We probably would have gotten an A on the trade grades on the day of the deadline and probably would have gotten plenty of praise in the coverage, only to see that player not perform well down the stretch and the player we traded perform better than that player this year and be controllable in the future. I don't regret those deals at all.
I don't honestly. I mean, maybe and someone who knows more I don't hate. Maybe I'm crazy. I didn't hate the way he broke that down.
Yeah, I mean, what he's essentially saying
Makes
is
sense.
it sounds a little hindsight when he's like, which I get, like he looks better now for sure because the players he was connected to,
yeah,
they didn't. It's like Suarez, like Flannel said. I mean, he's batting like 200, and he wasn't as good down the stretch for the Mariners. So I think that's what he was probably hinting at is like some of the guys that fans wanted didn't end up performing down the stretch, and on top of that, we would have gave up future control of players, which some of the guys they would have traded away, they have control over. So, you know. I kind of get where he was.
You would have to give up a playoff player, a guy who performed in the playoffs, as he said. So there was probably players, I don't know, or I don't want to throw names out there, but maybe like Matt Vierling didn't play in the playoffs. I wonder who, maybe Parker Meadows, but Parker didn't really hit well. Played good on defense, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I don't want to say I'm on the Scott Harris side fully, but I see what he's saying. Looking back at it, where he was confident that was what he thought was going to happen, so he didn't pull the trigger, and then it's exactly what ended up happening. So he's able to kind of, take that victory lap in a sense.
It's like, well, I mean, and it's tough because the guys you had, your bats took a shit too. So it's like,
Yeah.
I like
could be the argument like Eugenio Suarez would have played better if he was with the Tigers, but like no, like where would you get that argument from? Like what would have changed that?
He did speak about kind of the future and it ties into what they want to do moving forward, which is kind of go towards the youth of what they have in the minor leagues and get younger. And the guys they weren't willing to trade away are going to be a big part of the future. So he went into that, and here's the clip of that as well.
So I expect the players that posted dominant years in Double-A to factor into our big league team next year. They've earned it. They posted incredible years as 20-year-olds, very young for level. I expect their progress to continue, and I expect them to be in Detroit at some point next year. Does that affect what we do this winter? Absolutely. How could it not? I mean, these guys are really exciting young players that can help us on both sides of the ball, and we got to make sure that we are preserving opportunity for them. We also have to compete. The expectations have changed around here. We have to thread that needle whereby we are putting ourselves in a really good position to get off to a good start, but also add to that team throughout the summer internally with some of these players that are coming. You know, Kevin is in the fall league right now. He's playing some shortstop. He's playing some third base. He has played second, short, and now he's going to have experience at third base. I'm not going to announce that he's going to be in Major League camps because I should probably tell him before I announce it. But I think a lot of these guys are going to be in Major League camp. You're going to see them firsthand, and more importantly, they're going to get a lot of experience being around the big league coaches and the big league players so that when they ultimately get to the big leagues, they're more comfortable and we have an environment ready for them that allows them to jump onto this team and make this team better immediately.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that was happening. I mean, they're going younger. Kevin,
as they should. I mean, some of these guys are absolute dogs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, that's Caleb's guy, McGonigal. He's been hyping him up for the last year.
Max Clark.
Yeah, Max Clark, another one. Yeah, so it's like I mean, I think that the Tarek Skubal, when he commented on Tarek Skubal, was a little weird. I think they're probably going to end up trading him because the way he talked about it, like he just said, I hope he wins his second straight Cy Young award, and Tarek commented on the. He posted on Instagram and said basically, "Thank you, Detroit." So it's like, I think he probably has a little feeling too. Like you have a year left of control. You probably trade him, and
I don't know. I'm gonna let this thing play out a little bit.
Yeah, not
I would hope they pay him.
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing I'm worried about is with all of this, especially with the last video we watched. I'm just interested to see what they do in free agency and if they bring a guy because it sounds like obviously they want to go younger. So like Kevin McGonigal, Max Clark, like they want these guys to play next year in the majors and they want to be able to incorporate. I think when he said threading the needle, I don't think that means that I see people in the chat being like, they're not going to make moves in the offseason. I still think you have to. Like Gleyber Torres, you got to make sure he's back here in Detroit next year, in my opinion. Gleyber's a great player for you. He hits, he's good in the field. Like you got to make sure Gleyber is on this roster next year. Have to. And then it's the same thing. Like you have to still go out there and like Flannel said, like he brought up a good point. Like you have to get someone to go with Riley Green because you can't just fully rely on Riley Green being your guy. You can't. So you have to go out there and you have to find another big time piece. I think, you're not going to go get 4, 5, 6 free agents to add to this roster. You have a good roster already and you have guys coming up, but you have to keep Gleyber. And then you also have to go out there and get another bat, you know what I mean? You have to get another, as Flannel would say, a star type player, a bigger player, and bring them in and add to this roster. You got to spend the money. And I know like they want to be able to give opportunities to these young guys, but make these guys earn it a little bit, like make them, bring a big player in and then make these guys kind of thread the needle and, put them in those slots that are, there are opportunities to, and beat out some of these major league guys.
Yeah.
Because you do have to win next year. You do have to win. Like you have to go out there with the mindset of winning the division.
Probably going to the Yankees, Boston, or Dodgers.
He will be in Detroit. I have confidence. I know 90%, I think, of the Tigers fan base thinks that they will not pay him. There's something inside of me, Jeff, that feels like they're going to pay Tarek Skubal. I think it's going to happen. I have a weird feeling.
Couple $100 million. Let's see. Illich, fork it up, man. Stop playing this shit. Steve-O, we'll start us off with mailbag. Get your mailbag questions. Steve-O says, Mailbag Booner, would you drink the blue Kool-Aid in the cold winter after a Lions victory? LOL, love the show, fellas.
Hey, Steve, appreciate you watching the show. If you've seen the last 2 years, I've done it in the cold every single year. I've done it in snowstorms. I've gotten absolutely soaked outside, and think I'm gonna get like hypothermia and I don't know what's the other thing, like pneumonia. Like I've done it. I remember when we were at Woodward the one year I did it out on Woodward, and it was like below, it was like negative 10 degrees out with snow as well. And I was out there, and we all had a plan. Like doors was open as soon as I dumped it on myself. Everyone was like, "You got to run inside, take off the wet clothes, and get dry stuff on instantly." That was an experience.
Yeah, you did one in a Santa costume in the snow.
Yeah, I did one last year in the Santa costume in the snow. I forgot about that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm anytime, any day, any weather. We figure it out. We do it.
Jim says mailbag remote watch party for Monday night where. So actually our next outing, I guess where we'll be is Vikings. The game Lions-Vikings after the bye week will be at DraftKings Sports and Social in Troy. We're going to start promoting that probably next week after the Bucs game. So if you're not too far from the Troy area, we'll be at DraftKings Sports and Social. We were there multiple games last year. We got a good relationship with them, and they want us out for the Vikings game. So we'll be out there in Troy for that Vikings game. So mark it on your calendars. I think it's like November 3rd.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure.
3rd or 4th.
So, yeah, DraftKings Sports and Social in Troy. We'll be there for that game, the Vikings game. But next week, no, we won't be there. But, yeah, the following week, if you guys can make it out, come on out. It'll be a good time. Come hang with the boys. Steve also says, mailbag, Jeff, I can see the Pistons being a playoff team again this year, don't you? Absolutely. That's the expectation now, Steve-O. They've already broken that barrier. You made the playoffs last year. You make the playoffs again. That's the expectation. You've already cracked that open. They did it a year earlier than I think a lot of people were expecting. They won more games than I even expected. They won 10 more games than I thought. So they exceeded expectations. With that comes now expectations of making the playoffs. So
got to make the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, that's a failure of a season now. I even think I'll go a step further. I think if you have like a 7, if you're in the play-in, that's a failure of a season. You have to have, what is it? The top 5 is automatic.
6 or 6.
Yeah, it might be 6. You should not be in the play-in. If you're in the play-in, that's a failure of a season.
I think they made it 6 last year.
We didn't. Oh yeah, we didn't have the plan. Yeah, so I think that's the expectations to be a top 6 team. I would have to say top 4 team in the East should be the goal. That's in my thought process.
Xavier, mailbag. Isn't it time to have a crunch time chat party at your house, Jeff? Well, you know what, Xavier, we want to have some sort of chat party. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know. It depends on like where everyone lives. Everyone's out. A lot of people in the chat are out of state, but we want to do something to where everyone can have a meetup. I just don't know how we would do it. Whether it's like add like a Pistons game, Red Wings game, something, or somewhere where we can have some sort of meetup. I think that'd be a blast. I think it'd be awesome. So look for that in the future, man. I don't know how, Xavier says he'll fly from Chicago and bring 100 roast beef sandwiches. Well, fuck, Xavier, we're doing it then. All right. Even though I don't like roast beef, we'll do it. You like roast beef, don't you, Boone?
Love, yeah. The Arby's roast beef sandwiches are fire. Hey, I can't wait to start. I want to start this food thing with Caleb. I'm going to do it, the sandwiches around the state.
That is going to be so funny. Oh, that is going to be funny. Austin says, any word on the Egyptian nightmare? No word yet. We'll talk to the doc about it this week for you, Austin. I'll ask him. But no, I haven't heard anything about Ahmed yet. So we'll see. We will see. Jay Hart, mailbag. I know it's preseason, but does anyone else see how Cade is moving this preseason, or am I overreacting?
I said I think that he's going to be in the MVP conversation. Caleb was like, it was funny. Caleb made a video. And he said he's going to get MVP votes. And then everyone in the comments was like, yeah, he already had those last year, Caleb. Which is so funny because no one really talks about that.
He's like, come on, guys. You knew what I meant. He'll be higher in the rankings. I agree. I think he's going to have another. He's gotten better every single year. It's what he does, man. He's an incredible player. Xavier D, if it's Italian beef, I'm okay with that. We can work with that. Nick P, mailbag, a Disney meetup for your Bears Super Bowl parade. Get out of here, Nick P. You sicko. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, there's Bear stuff. I'm never going to live it down. It just won't. Motown Sports got Pistons tickets this year. Fun times there. Yeah, I mean, if you guys come out to a Pistons game, we're going to go for opening night against the Celtics.
What day is that? Do you remember?
Next
Sunday. Next Sunday?
I believe so.
Okay. I can't remember the exact day. But yeah, we will be there for opening night. We got to figure out a Red Wings game too in the next month or so. Got to figure that out. We should probably do a Saturday Wings game. That probably makes things a lot easier.
We'll be at that. Yeah, we'll be at that next Sunday. So if you guys are there, coming out. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's next Sunday. What do they put? Let me see. They play at let me check actually, because I want to know what time they play at.
I think it's a 3:30 game.
Yeah, it is 3:30. Mm-hmm.
Spot on. No Jason Tatum though.
Yeah. No Jason Tatum. Jaden Ivey's been playing in the preseason. I'm excited to see him this year.
Yeah, I think that's going to be such an interesting storyline, Jaden Ivey with this team that went to the playoffs last year. Because you do got to think that first round series versus the Knicks, they didn't have Jaden Ivey and they didn't have Isaiah Stewart. You would think that changes things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they play ball next Wednesday. So they open up the season against Chicago.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. Nick P, what are the Bills wide receivers doing? They've had wide receiver issues, man. I had Khalil Shakir starting in my fantasy team, so that's awesome. He has done nothing this game.
Yeah, no, the Bills have had the ball at possession, or they've had the ball 3 times now, only down 1 possession, and they've done nothing with it.
Yeah, this Bills team might be a little overrated. Josh Allen's not, but this Bills team might not be as good as people think they are. I don't know. They wide receivers, they don't have anyone. Josh Palmer's leading their team in receiving yards. They don't have a true number one. Keon Coleman hasn't blossomed into that guy this year. He just hasn't. He had a good week 1, and he just hasn't really done anything since. And then Khalil Shakir's good, but he's not a number 1.
Yeah,
and then they have Josh Palmer.
Josh Palmer, 2 catches, 60 yards. That's their leading receiver tonight.
Yeah, they don't have a number 1 receiver, man.
Josh Allen has 150 yards.
Yeah, it's we can call Stephon Diggs a diva all we want, but you never question when he was there. They were moving the ball. He was just a little bit of a diva off the field, but good for you, Austin. He's got Bijan Robinson. I think actually Adam has. I'm facing Adam Baydoun in fantasy. Has Bijan Robinson. He's whooping my ass. So that's awesome. That's great. Love that. I think I lost in both leagues this week. Actually, I lost to Adam, and then I lost to.
Who did I play this week?
Yeah, I lost to Adam. That son of a bitch, man.
I beat Easy by a landslide.
Did you really?
Yeah, by 40 points.
Yeah. I'm above 500, but I lost to freaking Adam Baydoun. This guy's got injuries all over. Whatever. It's tough. Appreciate you all. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday. Be there. We got a special guest joining tomorrow. Jeremy
Reisman. Jeremy Reisman tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have Jeremy Reisman tomorrow. It'll be a good show. We'll see you guys 8 p.m. tomorrow. We'll catch you then. Peace.
Love you guys.